Are we live?
Hold up. Let's run the
You good?
countdown. Let's run the countdown. We live right now. Here we go with the preview. So we running the countdown. Hold up. Here it
All
is.
right.
Welcome to the Boxing Source Podcast, where we go over the latest news in boxing and react to all of the fights that happened in the past week. Now, let's go to our host, J.R. Bell. Yeah, that's right. We are live. What's going on, everybody? We are live. Shout out to everyone that's able to join in here right now for the December 7th, 2025 edition of the Boxing Source Podcast. That is right. And yeah, I am live with my guy on the mic, Mr. Matt of Brunch Boxing, still reacting to what happened last night here on the early check-in. What's going on, Matt?
What a night of boxing, man. What a night of boxing. Lots to discuss, man. Let's get right into it.
Oh man, yeah, let's get right into it because it was a whole bunch of stuff going on there in San Antonio, Texas, Frost Bank Center. You had it there, the main event, the interim WBC Super Lightweight Championship there. Eastside Pitbull Cruz going up against Lamont Roach Jr. in a bout that was scheduled for 12 rounds of action, fairly a competitive fight. Therefore, most of the rounds and things like that there. And we saw what was happening there in the start. A fast start of sorts there from Eastside Cruz. You had, Lamar Roach Jr. kind of like, gauging what Cruz was doing there early, and was kind of, saying that, hey, as he says, that he could boogie with Eastside Cruz, right? So those first couple of rounds, you've seen them, back and forth there within close quarters, where I guess a number of people, didn't expect Lamar Rose Jr. to get in the mix in there with the guy that's known for, wearing down or getting to his opponent there in close quarters. And then in the third round, we, tried to do the thing there, as he said, hook with a hooker. And apparently he just got caught off balance and stepped back a couple of steps and the glove hit the canvas. Therefore, the knockdown to be scored in the third round. And so, from that point, you kind of seen that Lamont Roach Jr. was, kind of like fighting from behind in that particular sense. But for me, I felt like he was, still calm, cool, collected, and, kind of like controlled the pace of the fight from around that point forward. And you kind of seen there from like round 6 that Eastside Cruz really didn't have much of an answer for what Lamont Roach was doing, leading off with the jab, catching Eastside Cruz with the lead left hook, being able to, score points on the inside when he needed to. And that had Eastside Cruz, very frustrated, as I would say, clinching in multiple occasions, throwing punches that were like, either borderline or below the belt. And with the referee that was there, James Green, he kind of like gave a point or took a point from Eastside Cruz in the 7th round. It was ruled from a punch to the kidneys or, like around the back or whatever it is. So the point that Eastside Cruz had from the knockdown that was scored in the 3rd round was basically taken away from that deduction from the referee for the kidney punch. And after that, you kind of like seen there with Lamont Roach Jr., seeing where Eastside Cruz was and kind of like landing a number of shots. And at a point in the fight, you see Eastside Cruz kind of like not really approach Lamont Roach Jr. and kind of like fight off of his back foot and things like that, and then try to, do some showboating here and there, try to, throw off the rhythm of Lamont Roach Jr., but Roach wasn't really going for it that much. And so going into the last round, some people may have thought that it was up in the balance. Some people may have thought that the fight would have been already decided by the last round. But you had some moments there in the beginning of the 12th round, and then a little bit at the end of the 12th round, and then you got to the scorecards. And live scorecards being read, you got Jimmy Lennon Jr. on there. All right. And with Jimmy Lennon Jr., he basically does a spoiler before he even reads the scorecards. He's like, well, fight fans, here we are with the decision, and either it's a unanimous decision or a split decision or whatever, right? So he goes, well, we go to the score totals. He didn't even say anything about the type of decision there for this particular fight. But then he says, all right, he has, well, Judge Chris Tellez scores about 115, 111 for Isak Cruz. Overruled by judges Nathan Palmer and Corey Santos with scores of 113, 113, a majority draw. And oh man, folks was going crazy about it. You just had, a lot of the reaction for folks that felt like Isak Cruz won it, or for those that thought that Lamont Roach won it. And for those that feel like Lamont Roach won this, it was almost like deja vu, because in his last bout against Gervonta Tank Davis, you almost had that same thing where the scorecards had it for Tank Davis. They're on one scorecard, overruled by two judges, giving that bout a majority draw. So you've seen that here once again for Lamont Roach Jr. against Isak Pitbull Cruz. And yeah, Lamont Roach was really, really upset about that, immediately after the fight, saying, quote, it's some bullshit. I don't know what I got to do. I don't accept this at all. I clearly thought I won a close fight. I'm tired of this shit. And that's, part of the quotes there, that he said in reference to that. But hey, Matt, we had talked about this particular fight and the results and everything. And we had a great discussion from it, like immediately after the fight. Here we are, almost like 24 hours later. What did you think about this fight and the result that was read by the the scorecards out there?
I still don't know who won.
Oh
You
wow.
know, when the fight first happened, I thought
Mm-hmm.
Lamont Roach won. But then I went back to my scorecard today and I realized something. I gave Pitbull Cruz 5 of the first 7 rounds. So theoretically, all he needed to do was win one more round and it's a draw. All he needed to do was win 2 more rounds and he wins. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure he won the 12th round. So there's your draw right there. Now, did he steal another round in between then? I don't know. I think both guys gave a great account of themselves. No one should be ashamed. It was a great, great fight. Nobody likes to draw. No one likes to draw. We know that. Nobody likes to draw. It feels like anticlimactic in a way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
to say that Lamont Roach got robbed, which is what I see some people saying, it's just not the reality of the fight that we saw. Like the reality of the fight that we saw was that a fight with many ebbs and flows. I thought Pitbull came out the gate hot, charging. Okay, I thought Pitbull was all bossing up in like the first few rounds of the fight, but then I thought Lamont Roach was gradually chipping away, chipping away, chipping away, and then I thought Lamont Roach took control of the fight. And I was saying after 8 rounds, yo, not only did Lamont turn the tide of the fight, he might be up because there was some swing rounds early on. So I acknowledge that he might be up. You know, but then Pitbull finished strong, especially in that 12th round. I thought it was just a great, great fight. A draw is fair. Nobody likes to draw, but it is what it is, man. Let's do it again.
Well, I mean, given the scorecards that was out there, like I said, with one judge having it 115, 111, in favor of Visa Cruz, and two judges, having it 113, 113. The thing about it is that you kind of like had it to the point where Tellez had it like the majority of the rounds in favor of Visa Cruz. I had said it like yesterday when I, looked at the scorecards directly. For Chris Tellez, he had Isaac Cruz winning 4 of the first 5 rounds and the last 4 rounds. And with the other judges, they kind of like had split as far as like some of the rounds, like the last couple of rounds or whatever it was. But the thing about it was, at least for me, I felt like Lamar Roach did enough to take the win. Um, the thing was like after the thing that kind of like made it, up in the air, or as far as like what you could kind of see if you had those swing rounds, as you mentioned, was those first few rounds. You
Yeah,
know, if you had the thing there, like for example, with that one judge that had it 8 rounds in favor of Isaac Cruz, the majority of those rounds he pretty much like gave to Isaac Cruz. Like he gave which they didn't have this the copy of the scorecards like the way it was rotated, or else I would share it. But like he had like the first 3 rounds in favor of Isaac Cruz and the 5th round in favor of Isaac Cruz. So he only gave Lamar Roach like round 4, 5, 6, and 7, or excuse me, or round 6, 7, 8, and round 4 for Lamont Roach. So it kind of like made it to the point where I just felt like for Roach, after the thing happened with the knockdown, he kind of like recomposed himself and he almost like controlled the pace of the fight to the point where you had the thing with Isaac Cruz like being frustrated, him having the periods where he was holding a lot, him having the periods where he was, hitting, around the belt or below the belt, or having that instance where, you had that kidney punch that was seen by the referee and, got the point deduction. But after that, you kind of like seen it to the point where I just felt like Isaac Cruz was mainly off of his game until like the last couple of rounds in the fight, and even when that happened, like near the end of those rounds, it still was like controlled by Lamont Roach Jr. So it's like I would give that round to Lamont Roach instead of like giving it to Isaac Cruz for just those few seconds that he was able to score some points, so to speak, on there. We should have another guest on here joining in on the discussion. It's our guy, the Boxing Academic, in the building. What's going on, Boxing Academic?
What's going on, fellas? I think I heard two voices tonight.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
we here,
yeah,
we here early.
yeah.
We here early. We here early. It was an amazing fight, man. It was an amazing fight. Fights like these allow us to have hours of conversation about the fight because both guys, brought it. They brought everything they could to the fight. And at the end of the fight, I mean, Matt summed it up perfectly. I'm paraphrasing what he said. I went and re-looked at the fight and I wasn't sure that my first score was exactly what it should be. It's a paraphrasing there, but he said that if you give Roach another round, if you give Cruz another round at the end, he feels that it's different. JR saying like, hey, I felt that Roach did enough and Cruz wasn't doing enough to offset it. And so I guess I'll tell everybody my thoughts on the fight. So obviously it was a great fight. Both guys definitely gave their all. Both guys gave a real effort. I had the first half of the fight with Cruz doing more, winning more rounds off of like pure activity. The second half of the fight, Roach was landing sharp counters that shifted the momentum and forced like Cruz to rethink his approach. Um, Roach was essentially timing him with clean shots, and he made Cruz abandon his usual pressure style. And for me, that had to look bad to the judges. Uh, However, Cruz made a very smart adjustment where he was moving and taking angles and fighting off the back foot, and he took away Roach's counter rhythm, and so it broke Roach's rhythm enough to keep the fight close down the stretch. I'm fine with the official score being a tie because a lot of the rounds were tough to score. It just kind of really depends on what you like. And there were plenty close moments where either guy could have edged it. Now, I will say, if Roach really wanted to separate himself, I said this on Matt's show, but he could have capitalized more on open shots that were there when he was fighting on the inside. There were moments when he was sitting right there, when it was moments when shots was just sitting right there for him. It's the same thing that Devin Haney did about a week or two ago, where he would lean on his shoulder and then just do the momentum sort of shift and hit Brian Norman while they're in the clinch or almost in the clinch. Roach allowed, like, it was times where he could have got a lot of shots off and he could have discouraged Pitbull Cruz a lot more, but he didn't take advantage of those openings. And, if he did, I feel like he could have pulled away. So I'll tell you my scorecard. Round one, I had it for Cruz. Cruz led the action, but good adjustment with counter left hook in the last third of the round by Roach. Round two, I gave it to Cruz. Roach started off well, but both the right and left with both the right and left hand counters, but Cruz overwhelming edge with activity.
Wait, Mike.
Yeah.
Are you reading?
I'm telling you what I wrote.
Are you reading? You wrote this down and you reading it, ain't you?
I'm telling you, yes, I'm reading the live notes from the fight.
Oh my God.
Man, come on, man. You know that this happens every time with the big fights, man. What are you talking about?
You know what? I love how prepared Mike is. I'll say that. I'm like, wait.
JR let me talk. Unlike you, I know I just gotta get to the point on your show. I understand that. But JR let me he'll let me talk.
Yeah, do your thing. Do your thing. My bad. I forgot where I was. My bad.
Yeah. So round three was the knockdown round. So 10-8 Cruz, knockdown by Cruz, Roach not making Cruz pay. Round four, I gave to Roach. Really close round, but Roach landed a few more clean shots in the first 2/3 of the round. Round five, I gave to Cruz, close, but Cruz landed more effective shots. Round six, I gave to Roach. Roach did more and kept Cruz at bay most of the round. Counters landed more than Cruz threw shots. So Cruz threw less shots than Roach had countered. Round seven was the round that they took the point away from Cruz by the ref, and then Cruz didn't do enough in that round to win the round otherwise. So 8-10 Roach in round seven. Round nine I gave to Roach. Roach won 2/3 of the round. Cruz did more in the middle third, but not enough to surpass the counter work done by Roach. Cruz started going backwards because he was either frustrated or he wanted to change the look that he was given by Roach, because Roach had his number coming forward in those moments. It worked because he landed a leaping hook off the retreat moves. Round nine, I gave to Roach. Roach landed some clean single shots. Cruz fighting in a different style, but didn't land as many clean shots. Round 10, I gave to Roach. Roach pot shotting winning round. Cruz single shots don't really overtake the counters from Roach. Round 11, I had a tie round, but I was leaning toward Cruz. So I'm calling it a tie round, but I'm leaning toward Cruz. Roach jab was winning the round mostly, but Cruz likely won it in the final moments because he had a few flurries in the last part of the round where he was landing real clean. And so that last flurry likely won him that round, but I called it a tie round. And then round 12, I gave to Cruz. Cruz did more, exerted himself more, and I gave it to Cruz. So counting my scores up, it's 6 rounds for Roach, 5 rounds for Cruz, and 1 tie round. And so adding everything up, that would be 114, 113, 114 for Roach, 113 for Cruz. Now, if you take away that tie round and you give it to Roach, it would be 115, 113. Well, excuse me, 114, 112. If you take away that round and you give it to Cruz, it would be 113, 113.
Okay,
So you
it would be like those two judges that had it 113, 113 right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, one thing I'll say about the scorecards, right? All 3 judges were in agreement on the last round and gave it to Cruz, right? So if that would have been in favor of Lamont Roach Jr., he would have had the majority decision
He
because
would have.
it would have been 114, 112 in favor of Lamont Roach Jr. Um, now for me, I just felt like after the fourth round, there wasn't really much that I saw from Isaac Cruz that had him winning those rounds. I just felt like his game plan that he had starting off in the fight was completely taken away from by Lamont Rose Jr. and that had him resorting to those instances where he was backing up, where Lamont Roach Jr. was the one that was coming towards him. And even with that, like there were times where like Isaac Cruz would like fight, or try to throw off of his back foot. But given that he's 5'4" and already has the reach disadvantage, he was already out of range when he was, trying to come forward. So you pretty much like take that away, while you're going backing up. You know what I mean? So the thing about it was is that I just felt like with Lamont Rose Jr. just taking Isaac Cruz out of his game for the majority of the fight. And I felt like the work coming from Isaac Cruz was not that clean. So I don't really give that much credit towards a fighter that kind of like smothers a lot of his work or isn't necessarily, active when he tries to get within range because he's, pretty much like down stocky. And then by the time he kind of like gets in within range, then yeah, he'll throw hooks and stuff like that. But if he doesn't set it up, if he doesn't like throw the jab while getting close or getting within range, then I'm like, that's the thing about it. So I'm like, man, I just felt like at the time when I had the scores after it went through 12, I just felt like it was either like 8 rounds to 4 for Lamont Roach or something around that range because I just couldn't see like anything where Isaac Cruz won more than 4 rounds. Shout out to
Yep.
Chip Bayless on the live chat. He says that Lamont Roach was on cruise control there for the fight.
Which is part of his problem because I mean so many ways you can look at this fight. You could say Cruz not Cruz. You could say Roach. So I'm not saying this with a bunch of emotion and intent. I'm just merely pointing out something that you could say based on the outcome.
Mm.
You could say Roach let the fight go because he was on cruise control, and or you could say Cruz took the fight because he changed his approach to sort of mess up the momentum that Roach had, and then he started pressing after he did that to change the momentum, and he was landing, at least in that 12th round, and then he made the 11th round interesting to me.
Mm.
But you could say Cruz lost it. Roach lost it because he was on cruise control. You could say he let it go because he was on cruise control.
Mm. So you're saying like he should have either like kept the pace that he was going at, or probably took it another step there to kind of like separate himself from Isaac Cruz.
I'm saying that what he was doing, it favored Cruz because when Cruz did his little backing up to change the momentum, he got Roach following him, and then he changed what he was doing after that to start going back pressing on Roach, and Roach was relegated back to countering. But at the last end of the fight, Roach's counters were not as effective as they were in the middle of the fight. And so the last championship rounds where he was countering, it was not effective. And so I'm saying either he should have got what's the name following him and he just keep popping him with the jab like he did in some of them rounds. Like when he started coming forward, he allowed Cruz to get shots off that were landing. I mean, a lot of them wasn't landing, but I'm just saying, compared to all the shots that he was throwing and missing earlier, he lowered his output being Cruz, and then he was landing shots. Versus Roach was only just countering, and he wasn't as effective with the counter.
Well, if you're saying like, like for example, right, with Isak Cruz, how he was, approaching like the first few rounds or the first half of the fight, or going into like, round 7 and 8 or whatever it is, like he was having that, style where he was, coming forward and things like that, right? But the thing was, it was that a lot of the times, especially after, round 3, Lamont Roach would kind of like pick him off. Either he pick him off with the lead with the left jab, or he would pick him off with the hook, and he would continue to like land that hook. So if like Cruz kind of like adjusted a little bit off of that, and tried to back away or not go forward, then it wouldn't give that ability for Lamont Roach to kind of like pick him off. But at the same time, at least for me, like you got to be able to either have it to the point where, hey, okay, I'm setting them up for something, I'm setting up a trap or whatever it is. But I was just seeing like a lot of periods of like inactivity, coming from Isak Cruz, because he wasn't able to, properly, execute what he wanted to execute on, I would say for most of the back half of the fight. And that's why, at some points where I look at, the statistics or the numbers or whatever it is, like Isak Cruz was very unsuccessful in a lot of things that he was trying to do for the majority of those rounds, particularly from like round 6 to like round 10. So I thought that Roach kind of dominated, or at least swept a lot of those rounds to where he would be able to get back into the fight. That's why I said like it depended on how you scored those first few rounds to see if maybe that Isak Cruz got the majority of the rounds there with that 10-8 round, and then from the back end having that last round be the one that kind of like would decide who would get the decision or whatever it is. You feel me?
Yeah, completely that. Can I answer the questions that people were saying? I guess they was talking about me when I was talking. Essentially, they asked about a tie round. So I was
Yeah.
saying I had a tie round in like round number 11, because like depending on just what you like, you could have went either way. But I was leaning toward Cruz, but I had a tie round in round 11. In the round 7, it was a 10-8 for Roach, because
Roach.
Cruz didn't do enough. He didn't do enough to supplant the point being taken away. So I was saying a tie round in round 11. But
So
depending on what you like, it could go to either person. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, and the thing was, it was like that part in the last part of that round could have like swung it either way. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like what I had on there. Yo, Matt, you got anything more on this how the fight kind of like shaped itself through the last few rounds?
Not really, man. I think we all said what needed to be said, and by the way we're all talking, I think the draw was fair. We all saw different things. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but as you say though, you really want a definitive result. You do
Yeah, of course,
want
of
to draw.
course.
You don't want to draw and things like that. It's particularly with this being for a interim WBC super lightweight title. Um, and given the circumstances of what is going on with the super lightweight division, um, we still have the whole thing with Subriel Matias. He's still going to have this fight that's going up against Dalton Smith, and depending on how they did the ruling thing with the WBC, they have like a fight that's set for the winner of Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith. And I've seen in like a couple posts that like if any whatever happens, like Isak Cruz still being the WBC interim champ wouldn't be able to get a opportunity to fight for the full title until the latter part of next year, which is crazy work. So that possibly could open up the idea of a rematch. You know, both were kind of like suggesting it. You did have Isak Cruz saying that, "Hey, I'll have the rematch if the referee is a part of the rematch." I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, what you was doing in the ring. Come on, man. He knew what he was
And
doing in the ring.
I brought up a point on Matt's show because, okay, so he took the point away on something that probably wasn't a good call. I have to admit that. At the same time, if he didn't take the point away from that, he was going to take it away from something else because Cruz was literally jumping with his shoulder trying to hit him in the bottom of the chin. Like, that's what he should have took it away from. And the ref saw that 2 or 3 times and didn't call it. And then he essentially had to call something because he missed it them other 2 or 3 times.
I mean,
and I got one.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Well, I was going to change the subject, so you go ahead.
Oh, and the thing was with me and Isaac Cruz was, especially around that point, was that you had Isaac Cruz that wasn't able to successfully get within range of Lamont Roach and do, like actually have some effective type of offense because Lamont Roach was either keeping the distance or picking off Isaac Cruz before he could get within range. And so I saw the Isaac Cruz that I was seeing in his fight against Giovanni Cabrera back in July of 2023. The holding, the headbutting, the low blows, all that type of stuff, to the point where it's like, hey, you're gonna have to do something, or else he's gonna keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, regardless of what Lamont Rose Jr. was saying there in the ring or not. Like, you can't have this fighter continue to do that and not get reprimanded for it. So that was my thing on that thing.
And you said it best. He looked like he looked like he did another fight where he was just trying to get something. And if the ref didn't call it, even though it was the wrong call, if he didn't call something, as you said, it would have got worse. So he missed the calls when he should have called it, and he had to call it at some point to get it in control. The point was going to get taken away because he was getting to the point where it was getting a little egregious. And so with all of the holding, I'm going to repeat this. If people looked at the school of Virgil Hunter and the same shots that Devin Hunter was landing a week or 2 ago, if Lamont Roach did those shots when Cruz was like out of his mind and sort of discouraged, if he would have landed those shots and didn't allow him to hold, and once they sort of was in that mid ground of holding and he just turned over and just kept hitting him in the face, imagine how different this fight would have been, how much more discouraged Cruz would have been if he'd have implemented that on the infighting, because Cruz ain't finna infight. Not in the traditional way.
Not in a traditional way, no, but that's why I felt like he, made that adjustment to try to fight off of his back foot and not, be within range or, whatever it is, and try to, get Lamont Rose Jr. to come towards him or something like that. Like I really did not expect that to kind of be there in this sense against Lamont Rose Jr. Now, I've seen a couple of elements from Isaac Cruz in this fight against what was it? Back in February, right? And in that one, he was doing a lot better when it came to actually making adjustments and kind of fighting on the inside. And I thought he fought cleaner on the inside in his bout against Angel Fierro, right? But here it almost seemed like he went back to that Giovanni Cabrera fight where he was holding. He was, leading with the headbutts and that type of stuff or whatever it is. So I'm like, nah, this can't, necessarily work out, man. So that's why, you had the referee take the point away for the kidney punch or whatnot. But at the same time, that type of fighting style to me is not it's not clean, of course. And I don't think you really should be getting credit for that type of work. I mean, Matt, if you're back, you were saying you wanted to switch up here, on this. So what you got?
Yeah. So O'Shaquie Foster, man, oh man, what a performance! What a performance! I think last night a few stars were made, and I've been feeling this way for a while with some of the events that we got, where I'm like, you know what? If they could capitalize on this momentum, a star is born. Last night, Pitbull Cruz, stars born. Back in March, Lamont Roach, stars born. Last night, O'Shaquie Foster, a star is fucking born. He He took Stephen Fulton. There's no other way around it. Like, Fulton couldn't do anything with him. And
No.
I thought he put on a master class. I think the only round that you could have realistically given to Fulton was the first round. And even that one was a swing round. That was just from pillar to post, ass whooping.
Man, listen. He had been hearing all the talk, from probably like back in March or April when this fight was initially, suggested. After, Stephen Fulton had the win in a rematch against Figueroa, right? Getting the WBC featherweight title. Then they were talking about, maybe having that be a fight that could happen. Dang, excuse me. And then once that fight kind of like materialized, and then they said, oh, maybe it could happen in June or something like that. Then it got rescheduled. Then it got added on to the thing in October with the Fundora versus Thurman, and we saw the whole thing with that press conference, right, where you had O'Shaquie Foster there, and he's like, hold up. I'm the one that's the WBC super featherweight champion. So why am I on this side that's basically like the B side, like I'm the challenger? No, I'm the champion. It shouldn't be no like Fulton versus Foster. Nah, it should be Foster versus Fulton. I should be over there with Sebastian Fundora because I'm the champion. I'm the defending champion. So he had been going at this fight like, hey, I'm the one that's being doubted once again. I'm the one that's being counted out once again, and I'm on the show y'all. And he was saying that even from that initial press conference and that initial face-off, he's like, man, and I got this dude. I got this dude. And you kind of like seen it, how he was for, getting ready for the fight. And then you had the whole thing going down with the weigh-in. And he's like, oh, man, I got him. And he just like took Stephen Fulton to school, and he pretty much like studied Stephen Fulton. I think he studied Stephen Fulton from the initial time that they were saying that the fight was going to happen up until now. And that's why you see even like after those first couple of rounds, when she switched to southpaw, oh man, like Fulton couldn't do jack. He couldn't do nothing. You know what I mean? And I was saying that Foster had the reach advantage going into the bout, but it seemed like it was even worse, like in the ring, because I was like, man, there were points where like Stephen Fulton really couldn't touch O'Shaquie Foster. Like it was almost like complete dominance in that bout. And so, props to O'Shaquie Foster for getting this win. Yeah, it was for a WBC interim title at lightweight, but we'll see what he does. I think, well, you had a take on this yesterday in reference to O'Shaquie Foster. And, I kind of like agreed with it because, we did have the status as the WBC super featherweight champion, but he had been the WBC super featherweight champion for some time off and on, only with that one controversial loss. The only thing was he wanted to get a unification bout in the super featherweight division. Never got it. We're going to be having one unification that's going to happen next year, but it's not going to involve O'Shaquie Foster. So the thing is, it's like, why even go back to super featherweight? Why not just, have some fights there at lightweight where you could probably have some intriguing matchups and it could get you more money?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what really ticks me off? Oh, why does Black Friday gotta do extra all the fucking time? Okay, we know that he wasn't gonna get no unification at 130, but now that he's the interim at 135, and now that people are mentioning his name, fighting Shakur and Tank and Lamont and Pippen, and now that people are mentioning his name with bigger stars, all of a sudden people are like, oh, he should go back down and unify. No, no, we're not giving those guys the rub down at 130 because you had the chance for years to fight O'Shaquie Foster and you didn't want to do it. So now that O'Shaquie Foster is a bigger name than you, the black fighter has to go down and fight the Mexican guy? I don't think so. Okay? He's gonna fight a bigger name. Stay your ass at 135. Go fight Shakur. Go fight Tank. Go fight Tio. Go fight all these guys that we care about. Fuck those guys at 130.
You did kind of like mention those, I guess those Mexican guys at 130, but apparently on social media there was another fighter at 130 pounds that
Man, fuck Ray Ford too. I know who you're talking about. You talking about Ray Ford. Fuck Ray Ford. Always trying to get in on somebody's shit. Why don't he go fight Albert Bell? How about that? Albert Bell been calling him out. He was talking shit to Albert Bell, but he don't want to fight. He got bigger fish to fry. Well, where's the bigger fish? You ain't got it. So go fight Albert Bell, Ray Ford.
Hey man, hey, I'm like, I don't know why he wanted to, enter his name into all of that when you could have had some business to handle within the super featherweight division to either get closer to a world title shot or to like be next in line or whatever it is. But, as of right now, Ray Ford, they make the moves for all of that. And it's like you said, you do have Albert Bell that's, been out there floating around and trying to get in position for something like that, but he didn't even.
He got smoked. He got smoked for O'Shaquie Forster. What he needs to do is have smoke for his promoter and ask why his promoter is not getting him that title shot against Sugar Nunez when they both in the same camp. How about that?
Well, they're both in the same camp, and the whole thing is, it's like you got, as I said, other fighters out there at 130 pounds that have these, top ratings or whatever it is, and you ain't saying that you want to have a shot with those guys. You know what I mean? Like you have Jaza Dickens, that's now officially the WBA super featherweight champion, that's going to be having a fight coming up on December 27th. Why ain't you saying that you'll want dibs on the winner of that? If you're going to have what's happening here with the WBO and IBF titles with Navarrete and Nunez, and you got O'Shaquie Foster, who, he could just say, you know what? Screw all of that. I'm going to fight at 135. Why ain't you saying that, hey, you want something there with the winner of, Jaza Diggins fight on December 27th? Or how about this? Try to say that you will want some action there with Mark Magsayo, who's rated #1 right now at super featherweight in the WBC. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. Now,
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like I don't want to hear none of these dudes that wasn't trying to fight O'Shaquie before last night to be mentioning his name. I'm not trying to hear that. All right. I want to hear from Shakur Stevenson. I want to hear from Tank Davis. I want to hear from Richardson Hitchens. I want to hear from Gary Antoine. Give me Tio. Give me Lamont. Give me Pitbull. I want to hear from those guys, the guys that are the biggest stars. I don't want to hear from anybody else.
I feel you. Now going back to the thing there with the main event, right? Of course, you have your thing there on Brunch Box and talk about tomorrow today, right? Now, for Lamont Roach Jr., right? Given what has happened here in 2025, okay, depending on the situation, as far as like tomorrow, I might have a potential opponent out there for Lamont Roach Jr., but some people may say that Lamont Roach Jr. may not like it, depending on which weight class it is.
Which Russell are you talking about?
It depends on which weight class it is. See, and that's the thing about it with this thing here that happened with the decision is like, okay, it's almost like they're trying to, slowly angle for Lamont Roach to fight one of those Russells. It just depends on where.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, right? And respectfully, because I'm a big fan of Russell's.
Yeah.
He already said that Mr. Gary Allen ain't big enough to fight him. He don't want to fight him. He want to fight Gary Antoine. So Mr. Gary Allen has two choices. You either fight somebody else and get your name up, or you just move on because he's not gonna fight you. You know, it is what it is.
Okay. So, with that being said, what other options are out there for Lamar Roach Jr.?
Gary Antoine, Verizon Center, let it get done, man. You telling me that you can't put a East Coast card out there with Capitol Heights versus Capitol Heights out there in DC? Come on, man.
It could, but they have this whole little ordeal with Gary Antoine Russell getting his mandatory out there first. So they need to get that done and have that fight happen as soon as possible. Because like we should have had it in November, didn't have it in November. And of course, with the situation that's happening now with Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua,
We should have had it last night, to be honest with you.
yeah, yeah. If you couldn't have had it there in November, then they should have added it on this particular card in San Antonio, Texas.
But I think no one anticipated Janet Beck popping dirty.
Yeah,
If they would have known that Janet Beck was going to pop dirty and ruin that Lara fight, they
yeah,
definitely would have moved that fight to December 6th.
yeah. And speaking of that dadgum Lara fight, that's why I'm still mad at Janet Beck, goddammit. Because, man, listen, we we had to go through, or a number of people had to go through 12 rounds of that stuff, okay? And thank goodness for being for the Big Ten championship game or the ACC championship game happening at the same time, because oh my god, I just completely like turned away from that fight. And you had the box academic. He said he was struggling to make it.
Oh, this is why you ain't asking me my opinion on the Oshaki fight, because I was still sleepy from the Lara fight, and then I went into the Oshaki fight, and then it was so one sided that I was still sleepy, and I didn't wake up until the championship fight when there was some action. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just trying to say what really happened.
What it was. Because goodness, man, like I expected for Erislandy Lara to just style on this dude Johan Gonzalez and get a stoppage, but man, he ain't do none of that. He didn't do any part of that, and people just went through a number of rounds with like barely anything going on until the last round where he scored another knockdown, and then I'm like, come on, man. You couldn't finish this guy. Johan Gonzalez. Yeah, he had to fight against Jared Hurd over at the Barclays Center on March 1st. But outside of that, being a replacement, like this is the same guy that got stopped by Jesus Ramos, in Las Vegas. What was that, last year? So I'm like, come on, Erislandy Lara. But according to one person on here, Erislandy Lara is the number one middleweight in the world. Um,
I'm gonna tell you this: it should be according to everyone on here, because if not him, who's the number one middleweight? You tell me, since you know everything, Guru.
How vote Carlos Adames or something? Come on, man. What did we just see here? Come on. What did we see here? Oh my goodness.
Bro, Carlos Adames had a chance to step up to the plate. He didn't. Enough with him. Okay.
So you're done with Carlos Adames because one, he couldn't either get a unification with either Janabek or Erislandy Lara, and then two, because of that, he still hasn't even gotten anything done as far as like who's supposed to be his scheduled mandatory challenger there in near him, the Sultanal. So we haven't heard much from Carlos Adames after him potentially trying to unify and not even getting either one of those fighters there in Janabek Hamhala or Erislandy Lara. So now he's going to be going into 2026, and he still will have to, looks like he'll have to honor his mandatory before going anywhere else. And I'm like, given what Janibek was has happening, now the whole thing with the middleweight division is kind of like up in the air. And remember, the whole thing with that unification fight was to kind of like bring up the possibility of the winner either facing Carlos Adames for undisputed or having a shot to face Terrence Allen Crawford. And now that's kind of all but shot down, at least for now, for having Terrence Crawford potentially going up against any of those guys in the middleweight division. And so I'm like, I would rather just skip over that whole fight that happened between Erislandy Lara and Johan Gonzalez, and go into what happened between Shane Mosley Jr. and Jesus Ramos.
Wait. Hold on. What was your issue with the damn fight?
My issue with the damn fight was that you didn't have Erislandy Lara go into another level and show that he was worlds above.
He didn't need to. He did what he had to do. He punched on that boy, man. He didn't lose 1 second of the fight. He did what he had to do.
And given his personality, that's him. That's his whole thing. He only gonna do what he need to do. And only if you make him have to go to a certain level will he go to that level. He fine with doing that. And most, well, I was gonna make an overgeneralization, but yeah, he's fine with doing that.
Let me ask you a question, Mike. What you do for a living?
I'm an engineer.
You're an engineer, right?
Yes.
You ever had a job where you had to punch the clock and stuff like that?
No.
No? All right, well, you wouldn't understand. So let me tell you, so I used to work in retail, and I'm not giving these motherfuckers one thing outside of my job description. Okay? You're not getting 1 minute extra. You're not getting nothing out of my job description. You're gonna get what you pay for.
That's above my pay grade issue. Go to line.
And Erislandy Lara, he said, "Hey, listen, whether or not you pay me by the hour, I end it early. I'm gonna get what I get. I'm good. You guys put me in with this damn drug cheat. I lost my opportunity to punch on him. So you know what? I'm just gonna get some rounds in. And that's what he did. He was never in any danger. He just kept punching on this kid. Just kept punching on him.
Oh man! So he had a pay cut, so he adjusted his performance to that pay cut.
Hey, listen, Mike. I'm happy that you never had to work a job where they tried to get you to do something outside your job description, and you was like, "I'm gonna tell you what I'm not gonna do." Okay. And last night, Laura told y'all what he not gonna do. He was comfortable. He looked like he could have went 24 rounds yesterday. He was chilling.
Oh
He was chilling.
man, he could have went like 30 rounds the way he
Yeah, man.
like,
At that pace, he was chilling. And you know what's so funny though?
But
He
who
still
fault is
made.
that they didn't make him, they didn't have the tools to make him like have to kick it up a notch? Who
Right,
fault is that?
that's the fighter fault. That's the other fighter fault. That's not him.
Yeah.
That's not him. It's his job. It's his job to win, and he does that better than anybody else in middleweight. He wins, okay. And we've seen him perform at a high level. Can we see these other middleweights perform at a high level? Can we see these other guys challenge Erislandy Lara? Where you at, Adames? Go fight your mandatory real quick and come fight Lara and get punched on. Where y'all at?
Okay, I have a question. And I know that it's basically not going to have a good answer, but I'm going to have to ask it anyway. If Lara can't get in with Adames, this whole thing with Janibek then got shot down, will the WBA force him to defend against his mandatory challenger, which could end up being Yoeli Hernandez?
Bro, Yoeli Hernandez already said he's not fighting Lara. Lara, the OG. That's the OG, man. The king of the Cubans. He not fighting his countrymen, my man. Yo, Jesus Ramos.
Revoke that
Get
number
punched
one.
on.
Revoke
Jesus
that
Ramos.
number
Get
one.
punched on. All right. Elijah Garcia. Get punched on. Know what I mean? He not fighting him. Stop trying to divide. Stop trying to divide a nation. Okay. We are in turbulent times right now.
Wait a minute.
You
Wait.
need to try to
How
divide a
can I
nation.
divide the nation when the
Come on,
Erislandy
man.
Lara defected from the nation?
Come on, man. You trying to divide a nation, man.
He don't claim it. He don't come on. He doesn't claim it. Remember, his nickname is the American Dream. It's
Yeah,
not the Cuban Dream.
that is
It's
true.
the American Dream. Okay,
That is true.
he has pledged his full allegiance to the United States of America.
That is true. That is true. I want to see. I want to see. There was a guy in the building last night, was sitting almost front row with his nice little braids, chilling with his little jean jacket and his family. I'm talking about Errol Spence Jr. I want to see Lara versus Spence. Make it happen. You know, my man Tony Harrison fights in 2 weeks. Lara versus Tony Harrison. You know, I want the names. I want the names. Okay.
All right. Before we get into those names, I have to have another one of our esteemed panelists join the show. We got the full. It's like the full squad is here with us. We got the resident chef of the Boxing Source in here with us, and brother Terrell. Man, what's going on?
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be here one more time, and glad I got to jump on real quick for a minute with Brunch on Boxing last night on the post-fight comments. So I was good here to listen on that for a little while.
My man, the chef is in the building. Oh, this is a family reunion, man. Let's get it.
Hey, I guess this only happens when we have a PBC.
hey, listen. Hey, listen. The only thing that can bring me out is big cards. Big cards only. I like big events. And that was an event last night. Yo, that crowd was going insane. That was a great event last night, man.
Oh man.
Hey, I want to take a shot at Matt while Terrell here. Hey, Terrell, just don't go on Matt's show. He be trying to act brand new on his own show. I just
Oh,
want to point
please.
it out.
Don't act no brand new. I give you a
He,
great intro every time. It's not my
you do.
fault. It's not my fault that when I introduce you as the foremost authority in boxing, you open your mouth and disappoint. I can't help that.
Oh, no way I disappoint. No way I disappoint. That's definitely not true. Definitely not
Wow,
true.
them fighting words.
Definitely not true.
Those are fighting words. Those are fighting
Yeah,
words.
See, I was just playing, and this nigga gonna come, and
I'm kidding.
nah, that's definitely not true.
Oh,
Which is why, hey, Jr.
no.
Which is why he was like, "Oh, you reading your notes?"
Yeah.
Yes, I'm reading my notes, which is why they call me the boxing academic.
Okay, Dean
I be trying
Douglas.
to figure out Matt, how the fuck do you manage all those people in the room? How does that happen? How you deal with that?
Hey man, I am a maestro, my man. I am a maestro.
Oh, oh man, it's nearly bedlam in some of those spaces, but it does get fun over there, man. Terrell, you joined it in. We talked about this fight card in San Antonio, man. That Roach versus Cruz. I mean, it ended up in a draw, man, and the thing with O'Shaquie Foster, top level performance from O'Shaquie Foster. What were your thoughts about what happened there in San Antonio?
Well, for me, I was looking most forward to the Fulton Shaggy Foster fight. Just been a long time supporter of Fulton, right? Even though in his wins and his losses, we know that ever since he fought anyway, he definitely stepped. I think that fight was in Japan, I believe. But credit to him going over there, took the loss like a man, got knocked down, whatever it was, right? But but still kept facing it. So I was looking forward to that. And Shaki Foster is a nice, solid champion, right? But I thought that with Fulton's experience, just getting to that weight class would just prevail in that. But as we know, he missed weight, and that probably was a telling sign right there for him probably being weak for the fight himself, and just severely disappointed. Wow. So as Matt say, barbecue chicken and go straight to hell, Stephen Fulton. But with the, I mean, I'll let you guys go and get back into it. But like I said, with the main event, Pitt Cruz and Roach, was definitely looking forward to a dominating performance. It was very unfortunate he got that flash knockdown where his glove touched the mat. That's very unfortunate, and definitely could have been a big telling part of the scores itself. If that didn't happen, he should have won that fight. But that did happen. He battled back again and again. He was susceptible to that left hook from Cruz, but at the same time, you guys already know. You guys saw the fight. He basically Cruz switch up his style, right? And one thing for me, even early on, I thought Roach should have maintained his distance and box, just peppering with that jab, things like that. But for me, he spent too much time in the pocket. I don't know, was just trying to prove that I can take his power. I don't know. I don't like that part of the game plan, but still, I mean, it's fucked up. At least he walked away with a draw and not with a loss on his record like that. But my question: where does he go now? Does he stay at 140? Go back to 135? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I will make an effort to visit the No Excuse Gym later this week and see what's happening, what's going on, and what's going down. Because I have to follow up with what happened out here, over there in San Antonio. But I'll have to hit the gym because the whole team will be back. Here. What is it? Well, they're probably back already. But I'll just give them a few days, and then after that, I'll hit them up and be like, "Yo, I need to." Find out what they thought about what went down over there in San Antonio, Texas, on that front. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen, he's gonna say he won, okay? But when he has some quiet, alone time, he's gonna kick himself for not stepping on the gas when he had a chance. So I'll say that.
Well, what I'll do is I'll say, okay, what happened in the 12th round, in the point where you knew that it was a close fight, and that you knew that regardless of what maybe you could have thought how your performance was over the previous few rounds or whatever it is, like what happened in the 12th round to where you could just definitively finish and get that, because all three judges scored the 12th round in favor of Isak Cruz. And like I was saying earlier, if you get that round to Lamont Roach Jr., that's 114, 112 for Lamont Roach on two scorecards. You know what I mean?
What was the officials scores on the 11th round?
What did they have? They had
2-1 for Lamar, I think.
yeah, two no, two what do you mean, the actual 11th round?
Yeah, like was it 2-1 for Lamont or 2-1 for Cruz?
2-1 for Cruz.
See, and so that goes to my scorecard where I was saying I lean toward giving him that as well too. So when you ask him the question, you got to ask him what happened in the championship rounds, because it's more than just the 12th round. Yeah, the 12th round mattered, but from the two judges, from me, and from the 12th round as well, where everybody said he lost that, like them the championship rounds, like what happened? And the gentleman's comment is probably one thing that didn't make this easy. Can you pull up that the last comment
The thing here in saying that this one,
about the arm?
yeah, but that wasn't. I'm telling, and he said this in when I did the live yesterday. I'm like, he didn't do that. Like, you can't say that he's a one-armed bandit and be able to basically control the pace of the fight, especially in the second half. So he did much more than that. That was my thing about it. Like, he did much more than that in this fight. You can't say that, oh, he was just throwing like one hand for the majority of the second half of the fight. No, he was doing much more than that. Especially if you're going to have a fighter, as I was mentioning, being able to change what he was doing initially because of what you were doing.
Yeah,
Like,
but listen, why is it we praise fighters for making adjustments, but we criticizing Pitbull for making an adjustment? He made an adjustment just because he was fighting differently
Here's my thing.
and people expected him to fight doesn't mean that he was losing.
But here was the thing that I was saying in reference to that adjustment. He wasn't really that effective in making that adjustment. He wasn't.
I don't know.
Enough. I didn't
A,
feel like
a lot of people felt like he was walking Lamar into stuff.
Nah.
He did, JR. He did walk him. Lamont had him so gone to where they even in the corner, his corner was like, hey, don't think like that. They said something like, don't think like that. And he was so gone in the mind, and then he made that little switch. And then like Lamont lost the momentum in a sense. Like he had it, he had the presence momentum, but he didn't have the momentum of like throwing all the clean shots that was landing in all the middle rounds that he won, that he swept. Like after like them 4 or 5 or 6 rounds that he won, like 10, 11, 12 or something like that, it looked different.
10, 11, 12, and the thing was like all but one judge actually had Lamar Roach winning round 10. So like a lot.
Well, okay. Let me be more. So 11 and 12, you're right. I gave Roach round 10, round 9, round 8, round 7, round 6. I gave Cruz round 5. What did the judges say on round 5?
Round 5, they had it basically all for Lamar Roach, except for the one that gave 8 rounds to Isaac Cruz.
So 2-1.
2-1.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Lamar Roach won 6 rounds, but what happened he had to win one of the last 2 rounds, and he didn't win them.
Yeah, he didn't win that 12th round. That was the thing. I was like I was saying before, like if you know that one, it's not to me where you would think it's a close fight, but you knew the atmosphere that you were going into. You knew that you were going in there as a challenger. So for me, it's like, okay, regardless of your performance and how well you did, how many rounds you felt that you won, the only thing that matters is the 3 people that are sitting there ringside in the middle of one of those, parts of the ring. They're the ones that say, okay, I'm going to write 10 on this side and I'm going to write 9 on this side. So you got to have it to the point where, hey, let me just make this to the point where, hey, there's no doubt on this, and I think that, you got to have it to the point where regardless of whatever work that you've done, whether it's during that round or any of those other rounds, you got to make it to the point where, okay, leave no doubts. And the thing is like, even with if that particular round was close, you can't really have it like that and say, leave it as a swing round, because you don't know if you're going to get those swing rounds. That's the thing.
So what I was saying about the dude comment, like I don't agree with the salaciousness of like one arm bandit, but I'm saying, could that have affected why he couldn't sort of pull the trigger in a sense? Like, yeah, his counter hook was working. Well, it wasn't working, actually. It was not working. But could that have been a factor of why he lost them last 2 rounds?
Maybe not. We'll see. The thing with I guess what is it, Premier Boxing Champions, is that they're not like Turkey Aloe Cheeks, so you're likely not gonna have the full fight available on their channel. So we have to see, how we'll be able to, view it either, through buying it. You got the pay-per-view, then you'll be able to view it as many times as possible. So that's what, a lot of us will do. We're able to check that out. You did have that middleweight fight before.
Yo, wait, real quick. Can you explain to Bull Rider boxing? Please?
Yeah, I was going to mention that too.
I don't even understand that question.
Well, I actually got 2 perspectives, because Terrell made a great point. He said that, can you pull up his comment before I start talking about it?
Oh, you mean this one? Like
the 1 point. Well, do it, because there's something that Terrell said that you can say in opposite of that as well.
Said the deduction 1 point cost Cruz the fight. like we was talking about. The thing is like at some point, like they had to do something with Isaac Cruz because he was holding, he was fouling, headbutts, all of that type of stuff. So and that's basically his style. And I've been saying that's Isaac Cruz's style. Like you're not gonna get like a clean up version of Isaac Cruz. That's not how he operates. So the way that he does is he'll smother a lot of his work, but a lot of the times he'll land power shots because he doesn't set up he doesn't set up his attack like that, like with the jabs or whatever it is. So that's what you get from Isaac Cruz. So if you seeing all of that stuff that was going on with Isaac Cruz during the course of the fight, like, and you could see the fouls that he was doing, you had to have something done, or else it was going to continue.
And if it wasn't, if it was the wrong time for it to be called, but it was gonna be called for all the other stuff he was doing too in that round. Terrell made a great point. You can make the same case to say when Cruz landed the punch, the left hook or whatever, and Roach was off balance, him falling back and touching the canvas, because had he just fell into the ropes, they could have called it a knockdown. But I'm saying he wasn't hurt, and him touching the ground with his glove, it's unfortunate as well too. It's like two unfortunate things, but that's not. I mean, we saying what if, but both of them happened, so we can't take it away. But I mean, that could have very well not happened either, where he didn't touch the dang canvas because he didn't get hurt. He was just off balance with the shot. So you could say that same comment about that.
And Joey says that Isaac Cruz was fairly warned of there by the referee, uh, so James Green or whatever, because there was like a lot of clinching that was going on, and he was talking with him, he was talking with Lamar Roach, and all that type of stuff. So it was, like I said, it was like one of those rough fights to a point where you had to, like, for me, I felt like you had to do something because otherwise it was going to continue.
I didn't think it was a good point deduction. I thought it was bullshit, but whatever. It happened.
Oh,
It's over.
actually, Matt was talking about a different comment than what I was talking about. The bull router comment is a different comment than what I was talking about.
Yeah, he was talking about the thing there about two judges having a draw and one having it for Cruz. It's called 2-1 majority. That's how things work in like regular.
Yeah. The third judge is in a tiebreaker because it's
Yeah,
not a tie.
there's no
It's
tie.
it's always going to be
Like
a uneven score. That's why they got three judges
like
to make it.
how you would have like a majority decision. If one judge had it even, it would be overruled by two judges that would have it in favor of one fighter. So that's a majority decision in favor of that fighter. Like if it was two scores of 115, 113, and one score of 114, 114, then it's a majority decision for the fighter that had a 115, 113 score joint. Hold up, Tip. Let me see if I could send a joint out there to you here
But
real quick.
that's I mean, they arranged it like that for to get three different perspectives to allow either a majority or unanimous or whatever. I think we just explaining to him what's going on. So I
Yeah.
mean it was a good question, but yeah, it's a majority. So that's how it can happen.
And what I will say, this fight feels like Lamar Roach won the fight, but he did not win enough rounds, if that makes sense. The fight is scored round by round. People forget that. I
Mhm.
felt like he won the story of the fight, but he did not bank enough rounds. I think Pitbull banked enough rounds to either come away with the victory or a draw.
I mean,
And how much does the fact that the fight was in Texas, in a pro Cruz state, and just seeing how much does that factor into it?
Enough to where Cruz gonna get denied if it's close, and or if Roach is supposed to win and it's close, he get the tie. I mean, you get the favor, you get the nod, you get the favor.
And like I said, for me, at least it's a draw and not a loss. You're right?
yeah.
But it's It sucks. I'm sure his whole camp is hurt. But like I said, with a loss, him being stripped of his title at 130, with a loss, it's like, what do you do now, right? How are you going? Can you probably be in the command seat on what your next fight is going to be? Can you probably be in a commanding seat to say who you want to fight next? But at least with a draw, it kind of he's even. So just walk away, just plan for the next step.
Hey, Tip, I hit you up. So I don't know if you're able to like join with the link or just call in through the hotline and see if you can do that. Joey asked there, which rounds did you think were super close? Like either like the round was close, moderate, or decisive there on that front. So
Round 10 for sure was close for me. It was some toward the beginning that were kind of close. Yeah, I mean, somebody else can answer.
like round of 1 or 4 or something like that. Maybe round 10. I would kind of like say something like that. But my thing is that I just go with the cleaner work. You know what I mean? I just go with the cleaner work. Yeah. Let me see if I could try
I
to
meant round 11. I meant round
round
11.
11. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I kind of like tried to see if it could. I would say that for me, like Lamont Roach kind of did more in a majority of those rounds to get the nod in a lot of the close rounds. But I just felt like he did more, or as far as like him controlling the pace of the fight, his cleaner work, ring generalship, as they say. Like I give him the nod on that front. So that's how I did it. Let me see here. I might have to try something else here in order to get the link out to Brother Tip. Either that or, y'all could call in 571-449-7217. Wanted to, talk a little bit about, the fight with Ramos and Shane Mosley, but I want to get the candidate for knockout of the year on here because Frank Martin just straight up iced Francis Barthélemy, man. And that was just crazy. Like he almost like I thought, I thought he would have had to been carried out there like how bro was carried out after Brian Norman Jr. knocked that dude out. I was like, bro, he got cleaned out on that front, man. You know, but Frank Martin was kind of like doing this thing though because he was like tagging and moving, having Francis Barthélemy reset a lot before he was able to score that first knockdown, and then that second knockdown he just like kind of set that up and just landed that straight and just ended him, man. It was like insane, absolutely insane on that front, man. You know what I mean? So
That's when you're supposed to say hand down, man down when he does that. Because that's exactly the epitome of that.
that's pretty much what happened. That's pretty much what happened on that front. So I'm like, geez, that's a wrap for Francis Barthélemy, man. Because like you couldn't really get an opportunity to get in the ring, and then after that it's like you get this opportunity against a fighter that had a level of inactivity because he ain't fought since the loss against Tank Davis, and having this first bout here at 140-pound division, and now he's looking like he's a whole nother fighter. There with Buddy McGirt in his corner as a head trainer there too. So that's the thing about that. Joey says it was harder than Brian Norman's knockout there in Japan. Hey, tell you, man, those two are like the top two candidates for knockout of the year right now. I'm saying that. You know what I mean? So
What's funny about that too is like when you first look at it, it didn't seem to be a big punch. That's why he didn't stretch. He come down south on it. It was just good form, and he probably has more power at 140. Good for him, right?
mhm.
But it seemed to be in a short space. Boom, just touched him, knocked out.
Yep. And the thing that Frank Martin was saying was like in his previous two fights, he said that he was having issues there getting to that 135-pound weight limit. So I guess he said that he was like overdue to, fighting at 140 pounds. And well, he kind of like, performed at a very high level as far as like moving around the ring and being able to, stick with that. Cause you kind of seen those elements a little bit in the fight against Tank Davis. He was sticking and moving until, Tank Davis made the adjustments and kind of like cut off the ring a little bit and wore down the movement of Frank Martin before he was able to get caught and just get laid out. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see what happens here with Frank Martin, because he has the WBA Continental America's super lightweight title. So he'll be entering the rankings there in the WBA by the time they have their convention over in Orlando, Florida in a couple of weeks. And hey, maybe he could potentially, get something with the winner of, if they finally have that fight between Gary Antoine Russell and Andy Hirooka. But we'll see how that goes on that front. You had
Yo,
some.
who's this guy saying that he's taking over 160?
Malachi Ross.
Yeah, who is that?
That's a young kid, Malachi Ross.
Hey, man, have some respect for Lara.
Oh, come on, man.
He said, young cat's mad quick, man. Let that man come up, man. Let that man come up, Matt.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all follow Malachi Ross, man. You know what I'm saying? Follow Malachi Ross, yo. Come on, man. You talking like Erislandy Lara is the god.
These young guns own it, Matt. These young guns is on it.
Yeah, man. Hey,
want to have a successful career.
Listen.
Don't buck up that tree. That tree will fall on you.
Listen, man.
I don't want that young boy. Listen, I'm looking at Malachi Ross right now. He's 19 years old. He don't need to be getting punched on. Just do your thing. Ply your trade, young brother. We support you, young brother. We definitely support you, young brother. But y'all got to respect Lara. Lara punching on people. Y'all better understand it. Y'all better understand what y'all dealing with. Y'all dealing with the old master out here.
Sensei?
Yeah, man. Lara will punch on this kid. Come on, man. That's child abuse.
The views of Matt from Brunch Boxing are not necessary.
The views of everybody. You don't. All right. So if Malachi Ross and Erislandy Lara sign to fight tomorrow, who do you think gonna win? JBZ?
Hey, don't answer that. Don't answer that. Because Matt is an asshole.
You do this. I want Malachi Ross to hit the link. How about that?
Hit the link, Malachi.
Hit the link.
Hit the link, Malachi.
Hit the link.
Hit the link, young
He
brother.
was being an asshole to me earlier today, Malachi. I need somebody to come and put him in his place.
Yeah, hit the link, bro. Because we is not going to have all of this Malachi Ross slander up in here without him not being able to defend, man.
But what I will say, Frank Martin, that was the most shocking result of the night. I have never seen Francis Barthélemy get done like that before.
Ever.
That was crazy.
Ever.
And just like that, Frank Martin is back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I talked about the potential matchups that could be out there for him. They're 140 and seeing how, he could be angled into getting a title shot within that particular division. So, he'll enter those rankings there for the WBA. And then he'll be like, hey, I mean, I know that, whatchamacallit was out there. Gary Antoine Russell is out there. I know he does have, some business to tend to or whatever. But, hey, I've, made my announcement that I'm here in the 140-pound division. He also did kind of mention that he wanted some smoke with the IBF champion there at 140 pounds in Richardson Hitchens. So there's a lot of possibilities that could be out there for Frank Martin.
Well, I think this is what you're alluding to. The smart thing for him is to probably target some people here in the top 10, pretty much in any section organization would be like a Sandor Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, people like that, and just slowly climb your way up to your title shot. We know that Teofimos was locked up with Shakur. Cyril Matisse going to be fighting and he done even with his drug testing snafu. He's going to be locked up with that. I'm not sure what Gary and Tom Russell has up next, but the main thing, you're in a new weight class, carefully target some people that can make you shine and just climb and get you those top 3 rankings. That way you're mandatory in that regard.
I mean, you do have Sandro Martin that did, have this fight against Alberto Puello on March 1st there, but, he's kind of locked. I think he's still locked in with Top Rank on that. So we'll see how, he could, get in the picture or something like that. But yeah, I would like to see where Frank Martin would be able to get in the picture here within the 140-pound division and, have some intriguing matchups there to, get up the rankings there 140 and then, potentially get a shot at a world title. I was saying the thing there in reference to the WBC interim middleweight encounter. Pretty good fight between Jesus Ramos and Shane Mosley Jr. Jesus Ramos was able to pull away there. Hold on, let me see here if this works. I think we're gonna have another guest on here, but dang it, it ain't. It's my guy. In the building. I'm gonna see here if he's able to get the microphone going on this thing here. It should be added on.
Tell him to just unmute.
Yeah, like see if they got the unmute there. All right, yeah, you should have it on there. Tip, you able to hear me?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, what's up? What's up, Tip? What's good with you?
Chill, man, chill.
Oh, good, man. Yeah, you said you had the thing there as far as like rewatching the fight between Isaac Cruz and Lamont Roach Jr. What did you think after rewatching it?
After rewatching it, I scored it 8-4.
In favor of who?
Roach.
Okay, so it's basically the same what I had, watching the fight live was 8-4.
Yeah.
What'd you have it when you watched it the first time?
7-5 the first time around.
Okay,
but I could still swing at 7-5. I think there's a round. I think it's about round 4. Maybe I could swing either way. So I mean, I could swing at 7-5, 8-4. You know what I'm saying? Like.
But it was just that, like I was saying, after like the round 4, like you kind of like seeing the thing there with Lamont Roach Jr. kind of controlling the pace of the fight and controlling what Isaac Cruz was doing basically.
I think Esau's best round, literally in the second half of the fight, was round 9. In that round in particular, he wasn't even coming. He wasn't even doing the regular come forward thing. That's the round he started to get on his feet and box. That was literally his best round in the second half of the fight.
But like outside of that, like he was basically nullified though.
Bro. Lamont started putting that jab on him, bro, and started just touching him and circling around the ring. He couldn't do nothing. He couldn't do anything. Like,
I just felt like he was nullified for the most part there in that second half of the fight, and outside of those last few rounds or whatever it was, and I guess
the way you talking, Mr. Bayless, kind of shows why the fight was a draw. Because a lot of these guys here gave Roach round 9 and thought that Pitbull did better in 11 and 12. But you think he did the best in 9.
After rewatching it.
Round. Yeah, so think about that. We had one judge give him 9, 10, 11, and 12. Seems unfair, but at some point, we all thought that Pitbull did well in all 4 of those rounds.
Yeah, I would have said Pitbull did well. I think he did great in round 9, and then round 12. I feel like he just stole round 12 because it wasn't much. I think Lamont thought he had the fight in the bag per se.
Which was stupid. Which was stupid, by the way.
And that's what I was talking about as far as like when I are able to talk with them once again, I'm gonna be like that 12th round, like going into that 12th round. What was like the thought process? Because like you gotta have the point where okay, I'm here, I'm the one that's the challenger, I'm the one that's the quote unquote outsider in this thing, so I have to see what I have to do in order to get this last round in order to like leave no doubts. You know what I mean? Because
I mean it's 11 and 12 though. You got to say that for both last 2 rounds.
Championship rounds, yeah, but the thing is like after having a few rounds or a good number of rounds of success, you kind of like seen that confidence because there was like one point where you would talk about the thing with corner there with Lamont Roach Jr. and Lamont Roach Sr. But like a few rounds earlier, like they were like there and they said like, yeah, this is it. This is what our game plan is, and they were executing that to like they felt like it was like perfection. So they knew that at least at that point they felt like they had won a good number of those rounds at that time. But like I said, going into these championship rounds and the championship fight, you gotta do it to where like you could, feel like you're way up or you could feel like you're way down. Just make sure that you kind of like give that effort there in the last round. At least for me, for the last round, you know what I mean. But like I said, I mean, I feel like it was 8 rounds to 4 in favor of Lamar Roach. After watching it live there. So like when I heard the scorecards there from Jimmy Lennon Jr., the resident spoiler of scorecard reading, I was like, man, he didn't say anything as far as like no split decision or unanimous decision. I'm like, oh shoot, we gonna have something happen here. And when he read that first scorecard, I was like, okay, I know what's going on here. I was like,
Yo, is this a trifecta? Like, just think about it. Like, Tank versus Roach was a draw. Then you had Pacquiao versus Barrios being a draw, and then this goes into being a draw. Anything that wasn't a Canelo fight was basically a draw this year.
that's crazy, man. But
Hey, the funny part about this, Canelo fight should have been a draw, but it wasn't.
It was crazy, man.
word, you felt like
Canelo against who?
Canelo against who?
William Skull.
Oh,
I knew he wasn't talking about the other fight. I knew he wasn't talking about the other fight.
I ain't gonna lie.
hey,
That
but,
that
Now,
that,
now,
but you know
now
what
let's
though?
talk about
But you know what
that.
though? You know what though? As bad as that fight was, it might as well have been a draw because that was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. Oh my god. You know what? That might.
JR thought you was talking about Crawford.
Ain't no way.
look, the
Ain't
Crawford
no
fight
way.
was. I felt like the
Oh,
Crawford fight
but
was
but
closer
I,
than what
but I tell
the.
you this though, with that Crawford Canelo fight being there live, right? I felt like Crawford had the majority of the rounds, but I just felt like within like rounds 10 to round 11 and round 12, I felt like Crawford had to take at least a couple of those rounds in order to definitively get that fight, you know. So
He got enough off to win the rounds. Like in my opinion, the fight was closer than what the scorecards read. The scorecard was kind of wide. I thought it was a
I
closer
don't know
fight.
about that.
mm,
Nah, you got it. I'm telling you, it was way closer than what it looked like.
yeah.
Well, you can have a bunch of close rounds and still lose them all, and it
Lose
be a
them all. Hey,
unanimous, but it's a close
hey
fight.
Matt, hey Matt, you kind of like say that at some point. Like you could have a number of close rounds or a number of swing rounds, and you could give a majority of those swing rounds to
Yeah,
one person, and it
and
could
I
end up
think
being
the
a white.
majority of them the Crawford.
Yeah, so here's that. Yeah, like I was saying, man, you had those 4 fights out there in the main pay-per-view. You had the knockout win by Frank Martin. You had some performances out there from Isaac Lucero, from Luis Nunez, or whatever it is. But damn though, in the pay-per-view card, every fight went the full 12 rounds. Man,
Yeah,
listen,
I was so pissed.
listen,
I was counting on Lara to get it over with, man.
man,
I
listen.
was counting on Lara.
I was so disappointed, and I'm like, and see, like Matt, Matt is like, big event Matt. Me, I'm the old guy. I'm the I'm the geriatric person. Listen, going to a lot of these events, if there's like a whole bunch of fights there, and it's like 12 rounds, like for every single one of these main fights, I'm
like an
like,
old school Golden Boy card.
oh my god, that
Golden Boy have those cards in California that
oh
run all fucking day.
yeah, that is just painful. Like the joint with when they had the Tank versus the Hector Garcia one, like Tank was the only one to get like a stoppage victory. And that whole joint where it's so late, like y'all was out there until like 2, 3 in the morning. I'm like, nah, man, I can't have this.
Yeah,
Or
because Rashidi was cooking Via the whole night up until the knockdown.
knockdowns, man. And you
Boo
had
Boo,
Boots
Boo
and
and Dewan, they had a couple of knockdowns. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, man, but nah, like having all of those fights be there and see, hey Matt, see that's why Ezra left early because he had to stay there watching all of those rounds go by, so he couldn't stay for the post fight press
Yeah,
conference.
but that about fast. Like if y'all look at it, and shout out to PBC for doing this. There was only an average of 11 minutes in between every fight, and
Yeah,
I counted it.
Mm-hmm.
They went from
yeah.
fight to fight very quickly.
Yeah, yeah, there wasn't that much of a gap in between, and the thing about it was like how they did it was streamlined or something. Like they had like either a major topic going on, or they were promoting the main event, or you had something where you had Mario Barrios speaking about fighting Ryan Garcia in February, and saying that he has Joe Goosen as his trainer. So they had something in line for each time that the end of a fight happened, and then getting ready for the next fight that was going to be on the docket. Because sometimes they'll have like a bad transition for some of these fights, and you got to wait for like 20 to 30 minutes in between a fight. So I'm like, nah, I can't do that, yo. That's like
What if they give you a concert? Will that make it better?
no, because it would make the gap even wider. Like that's
A
what.
concert at 12 o'clock at night. Would
Yeah,
that make it
that's
better?
at 12 o'clock at night. Yeah, see, like, come on, man. That whole thing with Canelo and Crawford. Come on, yo. What we were doing, yo?
I ain't gonna lie. I was hoping they would have moved Lara up into the opener of the pay per view. Like when the opponent got changed, I was like, they got to make him the opener. It's only right. And sure enough, they didn't make that move, and this is what we got.
I mean, they couldn't because it's a world title fight.
You right, but it's like at this point, I mean, with the name opponent, bro, you got to take your chances.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, man. After that fight, I was like, man, they should have had this fight in the prelims because it was terrible. Oh
But
my!
But
it's
Mosley
crazy.
looked flat too, though. Mosley looked flat to me in his fight.
Well, he kind of look. He didn't have much behind his power punches. I thought that he did fairly well, throwing the jabs, but the power punches just didn't really affect Jesus Ramos that much. And props to Ramos, he was able to withstand those things with the jabs, and then still be able to land enough power shots, and had a couple of moments where he did have Shane Mosley Jr. in trouble, and that's why a number of people were saying props to Shane Mosley, for getting through a lot of that stuff, because he was getting rocked a few times, in that fight. But you got Jesus Ramos that's now standing as a interim champion there with the WBC middleweight title, so interim WBC middleweight championship, and all that type of stuff there. So you had all of that. What is that like? It's
Didn't Mosley abandon the jab though?
he
Didn't
did.
he abandon it?
Yeah.
Which is
He,
why he lose. Every fight I seen him lose is when he abandoned the jab. It was a different fight. He looked different in the fight. He had different level of confidence. And then when he was throwing his right hand, it didn't look powerful. He just looked flat compared to when
Mhm.
he when I've seen him throw it before. He just looked flat. I don't know why.
Nah, but Shane got this problem
Because
with
he was
Shane.
getting his head blown. I
He
mean,
he
getting beat up.
he fades in the second half of fights. I seen that with the Danny Jacobs fight. I was like, damn. I was like, and this, like knowing that he fades in the second half of fights, and this is first 12 rounder, I was like, yeah, he gonna lose. He gonna lose the distance. He gonna take the shots, but he gonna lose in the distance.
I mean, yeah, he's losing to Brandon Adams and Jason Quigley there in the back half of those fights, and now you had the same thing happen here with Jesus Ramos. So I mean, tough break for him on that front, man. But yeah, that's what I mostly had there for the event outside of what was that fight? Lucero versus Valenzuela. I felt like that was a good scrap, but Lucero ended up getting that stoppage win on there. at the end of that fight. But that's mostly what I had in reference to all that card.
Oh, I got one before we leave, Jr.
Oh no, I mean I got another topic I'm going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
But go
My
ahead,
bad.
academic.
Yes. So I want to point out the power of black Twitter, boxing media, whatever you call you guys. I don't know. But we are powerful enough to where we were saying that we wanted Deontay Wilder to get him another shot at the title. And based upon our conversations that we've had for months now, probably 6-7 months, people heard it, and Usyk sees the legitimacy of why he need to fight Deontay Wilder, and that led to him calling out. I sent Matt that on his Facebook. He didn't respond to me, but it's fine. It don't matter. I don't feel no type of way about that. But I pointed out to Matt that I forgot what I said now, but whatever I said essentially, is going in line with what I'm saying now. But all I'm saying is that
First of all, if you hit me up on Facebook, you're an idiot because I don't check Facebook. I haven't checked Facebook in months upon months.
Oh, I forgot because they banned you off Facebook. Oh, my bad.
I'm a Twitter guy, so you make sure you hit up Brunch Boxing, or you hit up Is That Your Face if you want to talk to me. I'm very available on Twitter.
Nah, you too big time on Twitter for me. I can't reach out to you on Twitter. But yeah, so comment on what I'm saying though. Like we got him at least in principle to fight.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a few times over the past few months. We've had this thing here with Matt with Brunch Boxing, with his weekly podcast that's on Saturdays. And we talked about it about 4 or 5 weeks ago. This was after you had the bout between Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley. I said then, I was like, with Fabio Wardley getting that win over Joseph Parker, I didn't feel like Alexander Usyk was going to be fighting Fabio Wardley. Well, mainly he didn't feel like he was going to be fighting Joseph Parker. So I said, you know what? With that win by Fabio Wardley, I felt like I opened the door for Alexander Usyk to think about having a fight with Deontay Wilder, because there was like anybody within the era that kind of like defined the era of heavyweight boxing outside of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. It's Deontay Wilder. And so you already fought Tyson Fury twice, you already fought Anthony Joshua twice, so there's only one fighter left, and that's Deontay Wilder. And now here we are, fast forward into December of 2025, and now we're a little bit closer to that fight, actually happening. You just got to see if they're, really ready to, sign on that dotted line and make that happen.
Bro,
and
that
I'm very anxious to hear what the president of the Deontay Wilder boxing fan club has to hear about this prospect. How's the fight play out? Things like that. His prospects to win, path to win, all that.
they got to bring that fight
Wilder
back to
KO.
Vegas. They got to bring that back to Vegas.
What'd you say, Matt?
Wilder KO1. You know the vibes. Let's go. We back, baby.
Wilder back, baby. Wilder back.
This is his opportunity. It's in front of you. You got to go all out. Like you've been, what's the name had in your head where you thinking about all this offense. Fuck all that. Throw your left hand and your right hand. Let that shit go, man. Knock his ass out. I wasn't saying that at first, but now since he really want to fight him, knock his ass out.
I mean,
I ain't gonna bet on the fight, but that's how I want. That's what I want to happen.
I'll be an optimist because problem not, if you can get this fight signed and get Wilder in the ring, yes, he does have a chance, right? But we know what we've seen from Usyk time and time again with Joshua, Fury, and what I'm getting at in fighting taller fighters and fighters with size, pause, like that, right? So you get him in the ring, yes, he does have a chance. But in reality, what Usyk has shown us to be an all-time great for this era, it looks daunting. But once again, you get him in the ring, he has a chance, and I will show optimism towards that.
Somebody get knocked out. That's all I know. But I'm hoping Deontay Wilder knock him out.
Well, he has to, heed the words of what he's, been saying. Speak it, believe it, receive it.
Receive it.
So he's, getting himself, in a gear. We have to. I think we'll see what will be the move within these next couple of weeks or so, because I think they're going to set
Well,
something.
ultimately, Jr., do you think the Rabbit will fight Deontay Wilder?
I think so, because, like, to be honest with you, given the situation that's happening or going on, I don't see like any other option outside of one fighter. There's no other option for him.
I don't think he's going to fight Wilder.
You don't think he's going to fight Wilder? The only
No.
other fighter that I would say that he's going to fight is Tyson Luke Fury.
So here's what I think is happening. I'm gonna keep it a beam with y'all. Okay.
Hey, why
And this is
Matt so
something that-
negative? That's what I
because
want to know. Why he's so negative?
because I know some things that maybe y'all not privy to. So I'm about to put you on. If you let me talk, I'm put you on real
Wait,
quick.
dang
All
it,
right.
dang it! I don't have the sound bite on my soundboard, man. So I can't really do the thing there, Matt. So
Word on the street is that Deontay Wilder and Turkey Al Sheik are not seeing eye to eye. Okay. Wilder was supposed to have another fight that Turkey was supposed to do, and the fight got canceled. Only Wilder didn't know the fight got canceled. Okay. Wilder was supposed to be back this year, but Turkey kind of, I don't want to say screwed him over, or signals got crossed, or whatever happened, but Wilder did not fight in Riyadh like he was supposed to. Okay. So what I think is happening, I think that they're trying to get Wilder's hopes up, and they're utilizing Usyk to maybe bring Wilder back in the fold for something with Riyadh next year. I think that's what's happening. I don't think he has any real intention of fighting him. I just think that they're trying to get Wilder back in the room so they can smooth things over for whatever happened towards the end of this year. That's all.
And they ain't gonna really have any type of attractive fight for Deontay Wilder if they're trying to, bring him back in the fold there for Riyadh.
Or maybe they're trying to set him up to be cannon fodder for somebody who they want to put over.
But would Usyk really say that? Would Usyk say that that's who he want to fight and that's not what he really mean? Do you get that from him? I don't get that from him.
In 2000 and I want to say 2022-ish, when Wilder fought Robert Helenius, was that 22? Okay. Alexander Usyk said that he was going to be ringside because he wanted to make a fight with Deontay Wilder. Fight night came. I'm in the Barclays. The whole crew was in the Barclays. We all out. We rolling deep. It was like 40 of us deep from boxing Twitter in the Barclays.
Yep.
So we wanted to see that Usyk Wilder confrontation. And guess what? All of a sudden, Usyk had a charity event in California he had to attend. Come on, man. These people.
So you think he's scared of Wilder still? You think he's still scared of Wilder?
I would never say that a man is scared of another man. But what I will say is he hasn't fought him up until now. So I don't see any reason why that would change.
Yeah. October 15th of 2022 at the Barclays Center, we did see Deontay Wilder send Robert Helenius straight to hell.
Oh.
And yeah, a number of people thought that Alexander Usyk would be in attendance, but
yeah, because he said he would. That's why we didn't make it up. He said he would.
Yeah,
he didn't show up.
Yep, he didn't show up. So I guess maybe we shouldn't get our hopes up in all of that. Shout out to our guy here that's representing Brunch Boxing Podcast here. Of course, we have the host of Brunch Boxing, Brother Matt, on, but this may be the what is it?
That's probably Ezra. Shout out to Ezra. He was out there for Brunch Boxing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ezra, man, doing his thing, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
We working. We're working. We're working hard.
I'm gonna make y'all put some respect on Ezra's name as co-host.
I call him the host of Brunch Boxing. I don't call him co-host. because
Oh, my
ain't
bad.
no ain't no first and second. Nah, we both run brunch boxing.
Nigga,
So I
co-host
call him
mean
the
that both of y'all sit at a round table.
no,
You
no.
you being
Sometimes
semantical.
nah. When I hear co-host, I hear second in command.
Yeah. Chief
I show him
second.
enough
But
respect
Chief
that
second,
I call him the host. Yeah, I
basically
call
they
him the
see Chief
host.
second. All right. So the topic that I wanted to touch on with y'all here is the thing that happened, last week as far as the World Boxing Council.
Oh boy.
Of course, you had the comments from a Terrence Allen Crawford in reference to the World Boxing Council and his feelings towards him paying the fees for holding the WBC super middleweight title. Now, you usually have the whole thing as far as like, being an undisputed champion, having the percentages and all that type of stuff. That's one thing. But when supposedly one sanctioning body requests a little bit more money than the percentage that usually they take, then people kind of get bothered by it. And Terrence Crawford had a lot to say to Mr. Mauricio Suleiman in reference to all of that. And dang, you think I wait? Do I still have it? I think I still have it. I mean, I would play a little bit of it, but I ain't
So
gonna.
you gonna play that whole half an hour in?
No, hell no. Hell no. It wasn't even a half an hour. It was like
8 minutes.
it
Eight
was like
minutes.
8 minutes.
Eight
So
minutes too long.
oh god. Oh man. So I wanted to hear y'all's thoughts about Terrence Crawford and what he said, and if it had a little bit of influence there. So wanted y'all thoughts on Terrence Crawford's comments. If anybody got any.
No, I want to hear from Chip Bayless first, because if this is Chip Bayless, I think it is. This is a boxing luminary, a legend in the boxing media game. So I want to hear from Chip Bayless first.
Man, look, man. You know my opinion on this. I just find it odd, man. I just find it odd. This is this the third time he done been stripped, right? He got stripped at 40, he got stripped at 47, and now he's just been stripped at 68, right? Now, each time he got stripped, he had a mandatory coming up. You know what I'm saying? As every boxer normally does, you know what I'm saying, before they vacate a title, right? They got a mandatory coming up. But these just ain't any, kind of mandatories. I mean, all these mandatories have a name or somewhat of a name, and they all present a tough fight. I mean, during the time, 140, I think it was Regis Prograis, who was his up and coming mandatory. Then at 47, it would have been Boots. Then at 68, we all know Berlanga got his ass whooped, so the mandatory would have been that tall motherfucking Hamza Shiraz. I just think it was just it was just a how do I want to say? It was just a decoy. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just something to divert away from what was really going on. He didn't want to fight his mandatory. That's it.
Hmm.
That's all it is, in my opinion.
Hmm. Interesting. Academic, you were about to say something.
Well, some of them names on the mandatory ain't like Terrence Crawford afraid of them. Like um
We could have still we could have had a definitive result in September's fight that happened there with Christian and Billy and Lester Martinez, who was the that was for the interim belt there for the WBC there, as Christian and Billy is the interim champion, but that fight ended up as a draw. So and it's known that they're not going to have a rematch because Lester Martinez is going to be going a different direction and having another fight. So, but I just felt like the situation there from Terrence Crawford kind of really affected the WBC in a sense, and then at the same time with what he was saying there, if people caught it that he was talking about a certain other belt that didn't have anything else tied to it. And I'm thinking like, why would he bring up that belt and bring it up kind of like on multiple occasions? And who would necessarily be affiliated with that belt?
Turkey.
Exactly.
Dana, Turkey and Dana.
Exactly. So I'm like, well, if you are like saying that, hey, okay, I'm really, down with this belt and this belt is free and everything like that, then why is it that you had to basically boost that up and then tear down the WBC, given that Ring or Turkey Al Sheikh and the WBC have had multiple clashes over the course of the year? So I just felt like that was interesting there on that front. Now, as far as like, the whole thing with the sanctioning fees and all of that type of stuff, we've kind of heard that before from other fighters in the past. We've heard it from Errol Spence Jr. in the past, or, Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the past. So that's like nothing new. It's just that why would Terrence Crawford have that type of a rant at this time period the way that he did? Yeah,
I
something.
mean, you ain't paying them sanctioning fees because you don't want to fight that mandatory. Come on.
I don't think it has anything to do with the mandatory. I just think he's trying to prop up the agenda, and the agenda is the TKO. The agenda is whatever Dana and Turkey and Nick Khan are working on for 2026. I think that's what it is. I don't think it's a coincidence that this thing with the belt came out the day before they went to Congress for the Ali Act. It's not a coincidence. This was time. They and TKO, to their credit, they had all their ducks in a row. They were organized, they were on message, and they all got their message out there. They started it with Terrence Crawford. They finished it at Capitol Hill. Okay, so that little Ali Act revision, oh, it's gonna get passed. It's gonna get passed because they did their thing with that. I gotta give them credit for it. And I think that that's really all that what that was. Terrence Crawford, he's always been a company man. It's just that now he got a new company. Yeah, I said it. Listen,
Hey,
listen, Crawford. He's a great fighter, but call a spade a spade. It is what it is, man.
hey, yep,
The
like you
company,
say, it
man.
is what it is,
And
man.
and listen, there's nothing wrong with a company man. Company men get paid.
Yeah, they
I need
do.
to be more of a company man, but I can't find a company to hire me. I would be a company man. Hey, Tip, you're
Hey,
hiring over at the Boxing Voice?
Man, you gotta talk to Ness, man.
oh man, oh man. But
Nah,
yeah,
I don't think the Boxing Voice would have me anyway.
Shit, no, hey, listen, you free to join the panel whenever. Like, just let me know.
well, given who I'm kind of affiliated with, I wouldn't be able to do it. But yeah, the whole thing that TKO, Sela, Ring Magazine, Turkey LLC has been doing as far as like reaching out to members of Congress. They're having the thing that went down over in California when it came to the Muhammad Ali Act. They had their plans in place in order to properly make that, I would say, that next shift in boxing to kind of like, I'd say, ease out those sanctioning bodies and say that, are they going to be as relevant as they have been in the past 50 to 100 years? And that the whole thing that's been going down as far as like them being able to have the ranking system, sanctioning fees, multiple titles, like, is that going to kind of like be on its way out? Or are these sanctioning bodies going to, redo, what they've, been doing in order to, like, I would say, cater to the fighters more so that they don't end up having to be wooed over by like a TKO or something like that. So it's going to be a real thing to follow here for 2026 because I think it's going to have a resonating effect in the sport of boxing overall on that front.
Why was his wife on board with it? I was confused by that.
Well, who?
Like, did
Muhammad
she
Ali's
get?
wife.
Yeah, Ali.
I
Hey, man. In the
I,
words of the legendary Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase, everybody has a price.
some may cost a little, some may cost a lot.
I thought the funniest person that was in favor of it was Mike Tyson. Motherfucker, you're one of the reasons why they created Ali
What
Act.
he created Hollywood? Yeah, like what? Come on. That was insane. Like, come on, Mike, what are you doing? Oh man, but yeah, we'll see how this shapes itself out here for 2026. But I think we're gonna see something happen because I really would like to get responses from these other sanctioning bodies. As I mentioned there with the WBA having their convention coming up here within these next few days, and what's going on with the WBO or the IBF. Like, how are they going to respond to something like this? Because it's looking like, yeah, they're already, acquiring fighters, and they're gonna have more fighters that are not gonna be affiliated with these rankings. And if it gets to that point where they get enough of those fighters, how are these sanctioning bodies gonna, do their ranking system, and how is it going to affect how much they get for the percentage from the world champions that they would have? So I like to see how that goes on that front. But that's what I have here, man. It's been a packed show here. Sometimes we have it to where it goes up to like 2 hours, and this is like one of them. We had like a full cast on here with the boxing academic, Matt from Brunch Boxing, the chef Terrell Thomas, and shout out to Tip Bayless for joining us here for this edition of the Boxing Source podcast. We'll get right back in the mix here next week, next Sunday. I would say that we have a couple of weeks until we have the Boxing Source Award Show, so y'all look forward to all of that when it comes up. And like I said, I'm gonna try to get interviews in with Lamont Roach Jr. and Lamont Roach Sr. Here, hopefully by the end of the week. There, if I'm able to get that, that would be something to hear. But great show. Thanks for everyone that's been able to listen live and those who are able to chime in on the chat. And hey, as I say, man, point of boxes hit not get hit, not to stand and trade. On that note, folks, I'm out. Peace, y'all.
Good